Do you follow football? I never used to, but for the last 10 years I've been very fortunate because I live with an Italian lady who is much more intelligent than me, considerably more attractive, and knows a lot more about football, as they tend to do in Italy. So if you follow football, you'll have been following the World Cup. And all this takes me back to 1970, the World Cup. In 1970, I'd just gone broke. But one of the people who had been kind enough to attend my creditors meeting, a subject on which I could give you a lot of useful information, how to manage a creditors meeting, that was one of my big lessons in business, was one of the most famous people in British advertising. And I'm not going to mention his name because I'm going to be a bit, a little rude here, but I'm just going to tell you the truth about how it was in the days of the Mad Men. Yeah? So this guy, I can't even remember how I met him. He'd been a director in one incredibly successful agency, and then he'd left that agency and started another agency with his partners and been incredibly successful there. And he used to live in the house near Berkeley Square in London, where Beau Brummel, the great dandy, lived. And after I'd gone broke, he used to invite me round to his house, and we used to sit there on a couch with his dog, a pug, whose name I can't remember, watching the World Cup. And this guy was incredibly, he was a very, very funny guy. He was the proof of something that David Ogilvy once told me, that the secret of success in this business is charm. He was incredibly charming. He was very, very funny. I always remember he used to say, the dog, he said he loves the football, loves to watch the football, he used to say. Anyhow, shortly afterwards, while I was living under a false name because I owed so much money, he was asked to take over the management of an advertising agency, which had been bought by somebody who knew nothing about advertising, but who was smart enough to know that even if he knew nothing about advertising, he needed to get somebody who did. So he brought my friend in, and I went to see my friend, who was very grand. I was told later that he actually had somebody there employed to walk his dog. Yeah? That's how it was in those days. It was there was a lot of money in advertising. There is not nearly as much now. But what had happened after this agency had been taken over, it was an agency called Dorland, very, very famous. I was actually the creative director of an agency next door at the time, because that's one of the jobs I did when I had no money in the 1970s. I'd be anybody's creative director if they paid me enough money. I went to see him, and there was a huge exodus of clients in his agency. It looked like going broke, and this chap had brought it. Can you save the day, please? And he stopped it. He restored their fortunes, and they carried on for quite a number of years, very successfully. And I said, so what did you do? What did you do? Oh, he said I called them all in. You know, the clients, call them in one by one. And I said, look, you know, we're really rather good at what we do, and we do like you and really appreciate your business. And he said, then I got down and gave them a blowjob, and away they went. They're very happy. You know. I'm not sure what the moral is from this story, but let me tell you, if you become a member of our Drayton, I'm going to tell you a lot of stories. You will learn a lot from stories. That stories are, when you talk about oral history, yeah, which in that case was particularly appropriate. We learn from stories. If you've read the Bible, and I hope you have, not many people do nowadays, it's full of parables. They were all stories. I'm going to give you lots of parables. I'm going to give you lots of stories. I'm going to give you lots of examples. I'm going to give you lots of facts about success and failure. I'm going to try and make you succeed better than you ever hoped you would. I do hope you'll join me. You don't have to do what my friend did, by the way.